biggest difference, and really the obvious difference, I would say, it's the difference between the settings in pressure support. That's the biggest one. The positive results have always used high intensity ventilation, and the first studies with low pressure, due to the fact that some studies in intensive care showed that too much high pressure could induce hyperinflation. That's why these first studies start with low pressure, but it was probably the wrong way. And high pressure is probably the good answer to these patients. There is two ways to answer to that. First of all, the studies of Clini and Casanova, we must remind that the power was not enough to detect a difference in survival. First, it's important to repeat it. But again, yes, I think that I'm convinced that the patients were not enough ventilated. That's why probably why the results were not positive. And thirdly, we can see that the endpoint was not exactly the same. In Clini and Casanova studies, for example, it was survival. In Colline study, it's true it was survival, but for example in HNV, it was survival without exacerbation. Perhaps easier to show something, and probably, it's the most important thing, it's not useful, it's what we want, to have less exacerbations for the patients. It's on the same time, it's a difficult and easy question. Easy answer. You take the inclusion and exclusion criteria of the studies and you copy them. But the problem is doing that, it's a small proportion of COPD patients. That's the main problem. If you look at how many patients were included on HMV compared to, for example, how many patients were screened, it's around 6%. In the Colline study, it's the same. That's why they spent many years to include all the patients. So the easy answer is follow the criteria of inclusion, but probably that more patients than studied in these studies can benefit of NIV. We ventilate patients because they hypoventilate. So, again, a very easy answer. All the patients must be ventilated to decrease hypoventilation, so to decrease PCO2. But the idea in these patients was that very high pressure could induce hyperinflation. That was the reason to decrease pressure support. In fact, all of us would like to set high pressure to decrease PCO2, but with this idea we used to use low pressure, and probably that it was a mistake. Even with COPD patients, the aim of the ventilation must be to decrease hypoventilation. It's quite logical, say like that. What is interesting is that the first study ventilating on NIV patients, it was done by Paul Sadoul in France in 1961 or 67, well, in the 60s, and he used very high pressure also. So it's nice to see that we had 20 or 30 years with low pressure that probably again were the wrong way. First, we see that compliance is much better in the Colline study, in HNV study, compared to the other studies, where around 30% of the patients stopped NIV at the end of the study, in all the studies. And first, probably that the good answer is set the ventilator as the patient need it. And again, probably to decrease PCO2. That's the first answer. Another answer could be the topic of our Somno NIV group. It means monitoring. I am really convinced that if you monitor the quality of NIV, you will be able to find mistakes, you will be able to find the leaks, you will be able to find the bad settings, the obstructions, and all these events make a low compliance. So monitoring is for me is the key point to treat well these patients. Our Somo NIV group published a series in thorax showing and explaining how to monitor these patients. The best tool is polygraphy under NIV, but polygraphy is difficult to read, difficult to do, difficult to find because sometimes you must go to the sleep lab. And the softwares, the device have much improved. Really, it's incredible. Now, when you download the smart card of the ventilator on the computer, you can see flow, pressure, like a polygraphy. So, in our unit and in many units in the world, the first step is really the software of the device. And then, if you do not have the answer on the software, you must use a polygraphy on the NIV.